Our friend Thor says eat an elephant head first. Well, right now, with all the stuff going on and I'm feeling that burnout, I'm like a Haitian eating multiple cats head first. Let's go climb aboard the dragon ship.
Through the white thunderstorms, we ride on the back of our truckers in a fearless stride. Sons of gold, hearts made of fire, conquering lands, fueling our desires. Roaring engines and lightning in our eyes. United we stand, strength won't compromise. From the east to the west, we sail every road with our warriors. Never feel alone, landscapes of freedom. Beneath open skies, the promised land where our spirits arise. We battle the storms and tides of the sea. Now we've arrived in the land we're meant to be.
And here we are. Enjoy the music that was brought to me from Jotunheim. Pile into the dragon ship. Berserkers, Vikings, Valkyries. Pile in here. We're going to pull the gangway up. And we're going to set sail. For the adventure of ages. Adventure of the ages.
Vikings serve the god amongst men. As a conqueror on our mission to live the dream as the rising tide lifts our ships. Thor, the son of Odin, protector of all mankind, singing old Norse the chorus.
Who could ever be in the chat? They're piling in. Welcome. Welcome to the Dragon Ship with RP Thor. AJ. Viking Detailer. Mike Steele slaying it in Las Vegas. And he is too. In Viking Paradigm. Man after my own heart. That man got it out. I'd like to see him standing in the shield wall today. And he will. We got a special announcement today. Nuke, I hope you can join. Hey, look at what's going on, gentlemen. We're aboard the Dragon ship today, and we got some pretty amazing things. I would like AJ to go ahead and take back control and announce the big news. I had to stop the music, AJ. That's why I wanted to come on screen.
Oh, not a problem, man. Big news, big news. What we got today for big news is our very own brother, who is not here today, Paul Bauer. His new book is releasing today, which we have an ad for somewhere in our long list of videos, and I should play it right now. Where'd it go? Right
Have
here.
you ever felt like something's holding you back in your relationships? Like you're always on the back foot, struggling to connect with women? You're not alone. Many men are taught to be weak, to defer, to play small around women by their upbringing, by society, by the very world that shaped them. But what if you could break free from the invisible chains that have held you back? What if you could rewrite the script, reprogram the paradigm that's been running your life? This is your chance to step into the man you were always meant to be. In The Essential Skills of a Masculine Presence, Psychology Paradigm by Paul Bauer, the first book in RP Thor's groundbreaking series, you'll learn how to understand and transform the paradigms that have shaped your life. You'll discover how to develop a dominant masculine presence, one that commands respect, inspires trust, and brings fulfillment to your relationships. Don't wait for life to change on its own. Take control. Order your copy of The Essential Skills of a Masculine Presence, Psychology Paradigm now on Amazon. Available in hardcover, paperback, or on Kindle. This is more than a book. It's your roadmap to a life of purpose, strength, and success. Make the decision today. Reprogram your life and step into the man you were meant to be.
Hey, looky here. This is Thor speaking with you guys. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Sir.
All right. I want to put this on the screen. I'm going to put us right here, guys, just for a minute because something special's happened. I'll tell the story. And I really want to tell this story because my friend Paul Bauer, who I've known for a couple years now, I met him in the same fashion I met nearly everybody in the Red Pill by. Met them online. And many, many years ago, most of these guys that you would know and recognize as famous, I knew them before they even did YouTubes. We spoke on Facebook chats. I wrote articles or I responded to blog posts. I got to know these guys. And on a personal level, I got to say, most of them are extremely honorable and very well thought out. Paul joins those ranks a couple of years ago. We contacted via his Facebook post and through a universal friend. Shout out to Benny, who was a friend of mine, is a friend of mine on Facebook still. He is a dating coach. I think he's a breakup coach now. But Paul, interestingly, so well spoken. He started his podcast. I listened in the background, and I was listening to him, and it's like, you know, he's actually a well thought out interviewer. I would like to acquire some of the skills that he has. And I was in the process of writing my book a few years ago, which is a dominant masculine presence, which I think is really fundamental in how men have to project their authentic personality out into the world in what's called a vibe, and why that actually results in charisma and charm. And it's immensely valuable to men to be able to acquire this, and those that don't are very socially awkward and struggle in just about every aspect of their relationship. So it's not a relationship book, but dominant masculine presence, even though it doesn't mention anything too much about relationships other than the current state, my book ended up being in the top 10 best-selling books in mate seeking, which blows my mind how the logarithm figured that out based on a man acquiring a dominant masculine presence, other than all the articles that were written on attraction and how to maintain that attraction and use that to your advantage to, everybody tells us, be yourself. What does that actually mean? Because most of us have to follow a set way of thinking in order to be ourselves. I mean, if we just act like little children, then, which most of us do in America now, we have, spoiled adult disorder because everything's given to us. Back to what Paul has done. When a few months ago, I wanted to get every man in the manosphere involved in speaking his experiences about the skills he needed to acquire a masculine presence in life and why that was useful. And if it's a step-by-step process that he did, or particularly if it's a story. I grew up with my father. We did this. We had that story. We shared these things. I always remember these things. And here's what I'm going to tell you about the essential skill of a masculine presence. It fits into 7 different skill types that are outlined in my book, for which you guys can get a free copy of chapter 4, which is all about the base skills. And the links will be in the chat and the description. And the free code is all caps free DMP. And you'll be able to get that for free, and you'll be able to listen to the audiobook. Most people really like that. And that sets the stage for the next part. So I have these men that have a lot to share, and they like sharing their skills so that other men don't have to go through the hardships, or at least they don't have to repeat the same mistakes. They may go through the hardships, and that's important as far as becoming durable is concerned. You do need to have some stress in order to improve progressively. But those stories can be conveyed to you, and you can achieve the same result. Paul is an expert in NLP. He's also a certified life coach. I've been working with him for a couple years now. He is also my vice president of the Dragons and a permanent member of this hosted panel. He can't be here today. But today, his book, his second book, now he's beaten me by 2 books, The Essential Skills of a Masculine Presence, Psychology - Paradigm. This is pretty impressive because this particular book is going to talk about the programs and the childlike programs that run in your subconscious, mostly without you thinking, and using emotion to put you in a position to make decisions in your life, particularly around behaviors that you might not even be aware of. Once you understand these, you can change these. And basically, you have the cheat codes. You essentially have God codes now to this game of life that we're playing, because you get to manipulate the environment around you to your benefit and the benefit of all of those around you, particularly if you come in with the philosophy of a rising tide lifts all ships, and you are a part of that rising tide. Having paradigms in your psychology with which will run and benefit you and the others around you is critical. It's a part of the laws of attraction, although in my mind, after reading Paul's book, it's much more than that because it's descriptive. Paul's book, I can't wait for it to be on audio, Paul. We're going to get on that. But today you can order soft cover and you can order the hard cover. And I don't know if you can see, but I'll try to go full screen. I got my hardcover in, and it is absolutely amazing. I mean, take a look, guys. Not that one. How about this one? You guys see?
Your green screen is doing the same thing I was doing last night. Yeah, it's doing the same thing.
I don't have it turned off in StreamYard. Sorry about that.
All right.
Probably should.
With that, I'm going to play Paul's message about the book.
Please do so. Thank you.
All right, we're going to play the message.
SKOL, you savages. I can't make it to the show today. I am in Denver, Colorado right now. Last night, my family and I, we went to the famous Casa Bonita restaurant. It was a big family outing with my brother, my parents, and then my 2 kids. So we had a great time last night. The book dropped today, The Essential Skills of a Masculine Presence, Psychology Paradigm. It's now available on paperback and hardcover. Put a lot of work into this. We found a mistake with it earlier this week and found out that there were some typos that had to get corrected. I was up at midnight last night when the book got opened up for editing again, and I had that cover updated last night at midnight. So if you order it now, everything should be good to go. Everything in this book is the most foundational part of becoming a man with a dominant masculine presence. It's the ground floor, because all of our actions start up here in our mind. And a lot of the times we have negative paradigms and we don't even know that we have them. And those paradigms control our results in life. This book is going to show you how to identify those negative paradigms and how to reprogram them so that you can have a dominant masculine presence. I'm really excited for this. I'm glad that it's the first book in Thor's new series, the Essential Skills of a Masculine Presence series. I think Wraith's book is next. But if you guys want to know more about it, guys, play the ad. And guys, head on over to Amazon and get the book right now.
And that is awesome. We already played the ad.
I'll post in the chat the Amazon link. Guys, I can't tell you how impressive what Paul's put together. He's been working on stuff for a while, and him and I communicated about these skills, because when you recognize that these skills extend way beyond money, muscles, game, and frame, they fit in that format. But you're going to realize there's something beyond alpha and beta when you complete these skills. That's why betas can actually seem so dominant and confident, and yet in their personal life they have these beta traits. Why was that always the case? A lot of times they're lacking these skills and the paradigm that Paul's talking about.
Indeed. So that brings us to today's episode, and I think it hits a lot of us here on the DragonShip. We're going to discuss overcoming burnout and what is burnout. So thanks to our little friend here, ChatGPT, burnout is a state of physical, emotional, and mental exhaustion caused by prolonged stress, typically related to work or high-demand environments, i.e. relationships, can be a source of burnout. It often results from being overwhelmed, emotionally drained, and unable to meet constant demands. Over time, burnout can lead to decreased productivity, detachment from personal and professional responsibilities, and feelings of helplessness and dissolution. With that, I am bringing us all up onto the panel. We have Thor. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. I am so excited about what Paul is offering here. I've worked with him. I really, truly consider him a dear friend. And as this project moves forward over the next year, you're going to see 8 to 12 guys adding to this encyclopedia. AJ, I can't wait for yours. I know.
It's on the way, man.
You have one too. I don't know who else would want me to announce, but if you can think of them, they're on board with writing me or writing themselves a chapter or a book in this series, which will be a real nice addition to those that want to understand what this information is all about, and they don't want to buy into the propaganda that red pill men bad. This is going to change things, I think, and it will be a nice thing for those that come up into this information and have different experiences to contact us, and they might become invited to participate in this unique book series on encyclopedia, or as an encyclopedia. So yeah, that's what I've been up to, man. Excited to be here. Thank you for hosting today, AJ. Awesome topic.
Alrighty, and we are also joined by Mr. Viking Paradigm, rocking the shades today. How you doing, brother?
Sure. I'm doing good. Glad to be here as always.
And I think you got some good stories for this topic as well. We'll get to those here in a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Huds, my Philly brother. I might be hitting you up
sir.
here in a couple weeks about that masculine geek trip. But how you doing?
Yeah, no, that trip. Hopefully, I can make that work because that would be sweet. Definitely looking forward to that. I'm doing good. I've dealt with a lot of burnout, and I can definitely say that what you said in that definition, it then bleeds into affecting and withdrawing from personal relationships, professional relationships, your responsibilities. It happens to me sometimes where I just have to withdraw from the world, and I don't even have like the energy to like deal with people, and I hate doing that. But it's because I'm putting myself in burnout situations. So great topic, man.
Yes, Mr. Nuke. I know you're familiar with burnout, being a nuclear operator of the U.S. Navy, as I was. We are very familiar with it. How you doing today?
I'm good. Yeah, burnout creeps up on you. You gotta be careful. You gotta know when to call it quits and take a break, fall back. Guys, we have a lot of pride. We don't like to admit that we're tired or that, we're not doing a good job. So kind of creeps up on you. So just be vigilant.
All right. Mike Steele coming out of Vegas. You got a lot of burnout coming with this whole casino closing and starting up and all that stuff.
Yeah, I've got burnout right now as we speak. So this is fantastic. Now I think this is the first time we're going to talk about something that I will probably learn more than I speak today. So I'm looking forward to it.
Hey, I got a quick question, guys. Not to interrupt. I got somebody we all like and love. who asked for a link to the show. Are you guys willing to have MLD come on?
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah!
Bring John on. Bring my dude. He knows all about Burnout.
We don't want him in here.
I want
Come
John in here.
on.
Damn it.
All
Viking,
right.
this is my show today. We're putting John on. Damn it.
I know he knows a lot about this topic.
Oh,
I
he's
kind of feel
perfect.
bad I didn't actually invite him. He's always invited as standing, as you know, but still. Yeah,
Yes.
continue on, and I'll work on that. Okay.
Alrighty, and then we got Wraith. Last but not least, well, we also have Laurent down there too. We'll get to Wraith and then Laurent. You muted, Wraith. You're still muted. There we are.
There we go. No, everything's going good. This is a subject that a lot of men don't think about because we're used to living and working under pressure. So I look forward to having a conversation about it.
All right, and out of Tokyo, Laurent.
I'm a frequent flyer in the world of Burnout. I got a mileage card, so yeah, let's talk about it.
All righty. So, while we wait for MLD to get in here, let's talk about Burnout. Like, has that? Just go around the panel. I think everyone here has experienced Burnout, or right now are experiencing some Burnout, like myself, Mike. I'm sure Huds is a little bit too. All of us read this book. So,
How
let's
do
go.
you
with
guys experience it? Like AJ, like you, how do you experience the burnout? I mean, does it creep up on you, or you just wake up and it's there?
I think it's more of a creep up on me, and I just take on too many projects at once. Like I said in the intro, I'm like a Haitian eating multiple cats head first right now. I know enough not to go from the rear end.
Why do we not go from the rear end, AJ?
It's gonna taste like shit, and you're gonna look like shit.
Well, it's going to taste like shit, and you're going to lose your appetite, and then you quit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of mentioned in the backstage before we started. Easiest way for me to deal with it is copious amounts of caffeine, nicotine, and hatred. Viking, what about you, man? Let's hear some. Hear how you deal with burnout, or if it creeps up on you, or it hits you at once, like Thor asked.
Well, it can be both because it's like and from my perspective, it's a multi-factor equation, right? So you're dealing with repetition that can lead to boredom and mental degradation, taxing your mental bandwidth. And this is something that MLD taught me about understanding that you only have so much mental bandwidth you can spend every day, right? So that's why I'm careful. I filter out certain social media and stuff like that because your brain does use 20% of your daily calories, right? So mental bandwidth is a real limitation that most men don't understand. The same way that your muscles will get tired if used too much, your brain will get tired if you use it too much. You need rest and resets. There's a reason why we have concepts like taking breaks and vacation. Now, understanding that is how I deal with burnout.
Right. Nuke, same thing with you, man.
So for burnout, you gotta sleep, man. You gotta start prioritizing sleep. You're gonna have trouble sleeping because part of burnout is you're overthinking, and that overthinking usually when you're alone in your bed, you're thinking about the next day and its worries and its troubles. So you gotta do what you can. Sleep is like the foundation of your health. So if you're not focusing on sleep, or at least trying to at least relax, and it's gonna keep building over and over again, right? I'm sure a lot of you guys have gone to bed tired, but you couldn't fall asleep, and it's just like that worry and anxiety, and you just wake up equally as tired. Sleeping isn't doing it. So, working on that will pay you a lot of dividends, and then you need to start shaving things away from your life in that moment that don't really add too much. It's a good point in your life to say, hey, what do I get out of this? Whether it be a relationship, a job, a friendship, always continuously ask yourself, what do I get out of this? Is it worth it? And that's not like an angry statement. That's more like a self-care, like, hey, is this really the best for me in this moment? And can I get rid of it? And if I can't, can I wait it out? So yeah, just I'd say sleep and just continuously ask yourself, what do I get out of this?
It's a good thing right there, because I could probably talk on that a little bit later with something I did a few weeks ago. But yeah, let's move on to Huds.
Sure. Yeah. Burnout definitely is something that creeps up on me. I tend to like to take on much more than I can handle, and I'm not good at siloing everything. I guess so to say is like I want to be involved in everything, get everything done. And what I've learned recently is it's best to slow things down. Now, one of the things that I've been doing for that is instead of trying to juggle 10 different balls at once, you pick, like, let's say the 5 most important, and those are the things you're focusing on, and the other things can come in time. Constantly, there's more than just one project I'm working on, whether it be other books or my own men's community or all those different things that pop up with my business. I can't do it all. I have to say no. The power of saying no is so important, because once everything does creep up on you, at least for me, it causes me to be short in my relationship, and I hate being that way. I hate having it affect just my mood, my attitude. I just get too frustrated. And so one of the things that I've done to like slow down recently is, I've picked up Legos again, and I've been loving it. And so when I can take that period of time where it might be an hour, or sometimes I'll go for like 2 hours of just building this thing, it's stimulating the mind, but not in a stressful way. That's been a huge game changer for me over the last month.
Gotcha. I feel you. Like me and Thor last night hanging out with Vince painting. That was pretty fun. That got my mind off a lot of things that I have going on in life. Mike, what about you, man?
Well, like I said, I'm probably going to learn more this episode than talk, but like lately, it's been interesting because I'm not above a certain kind of work, like going back to my roots and schlepping around computers and stuff like that. But it is kind of stressful when you go from managing well over 100 servers and an entire casino to, all right, now carry 200 computers from one side of the city, not literally from one side of the city, but put in your car and haul them from one side of the city to the other. Oh, and by the way, get the president's office set up perfectly by 7 a.m. Monday morning, or he's going to be pissed. And then when you're all done, you just want to go home and turn off your phone and turn off all your devices and just say, fuck the world, and watch a James Bond movie and go to bed. That's kind of where I am right now.
Gotcha. Wraith, I know you got words of wisdom on dealing with burnout and experiencing burnout. You're muted.
I don't know why that keeps happening, but I guess the first thing is recognizing, if you're actually suffering from burnout. And, there's the mental and physical burnout are associated with each other in some respect. Mental burnout is caused by stress, either in relationships or work or those kind of things. And that kind of eats at your confidence and your what you feel is eating at your confidence. And it takes time and to sit down and say, okay, why do I feel this way? And this is what a lot of men don't do. A lot of men don't go into it and look at it and say, okay, why are things not going the way I think they should be going? Or why does everything upset me or bother me? So look at it from a psychological standpoint. Some of the things you can do is you can journal. And I recommend journaling to everybody. Journaling helps you understand what happened during your day, what triggered you during your day, and those kind of things. And then, if it's affecting you physically, there's, you have to come up with some physical outlet. Me, I enjoy shooting, so I go shooting.
Some ammo therapy?
Yep, ammo therapy. But, there's got to be something that you enjoy as a physical outlet. And sometimes that physical outlet's enough to break that cycle of stress, frustration with whatever is causing it, work, relationships, and those things. So, but the main thing is you've got to focus on why you're doing it. And the only way you can do that is through journaling or self-evaluation, self-reflection.
Gotcha. Some awesome words right there. Laurent, you said you're the embodiment of burnout. Let's hear it.
All right. Well, first of all, you need to be aware that you have burnout. More often than not, it's like depression. Once you live with it, it just becomes a way of living. So several things here, as the Nuke said before, sleep. But to sleep, you also need to get the toxins out. So go to the gym. But for instance, now at the moment, the wife left with the kids. So I'm in the boxing gym. The owner of the boxing gym said, "Dude, I'm gonna cancel the membership. I'm gonna start charging you rent instead." So you got to burn this thing. You got to burn all the toxins out, and walk also works well. And I think it was Huds who mentioned the power of no, not the power of not, but the power of no. It's also one thing that I was trying to take too much on, and what I realized is getting rid of some stuff is important. What is going to get you closer to your goal? What is the keystone thing that needs to be done, excluding everything else? I think it's Warren Buffett who said, make a list of 20 important things that absolutely need to be done and get rid of 18 of them. So shedding stuff. And because we can't do it all at the same time. We can't lose weight, get fit, get good at dating, get blah, 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 blah. Just pick one. Just pick one. Also, one thing that is important is the power of habits. Because burnout is like stress, it's relative. As in, we all need stress. People say, oh, I don't want to have stress. No. We absolutely need stress to survive. And the amount that you can take on varies from people to people. Example, now, every day I wake up and I clock 100 push-ups. In my age, before going out of my room, in my age bracket, it's probably 1% of the people in the world who do this. Not even. Even in the general population, it's probably 1% of the people. So the more you take on, the higher the ability to digest it. And the best way to do it is via habits. Does it make sense?
Habits
Yes,
are
sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, habit building is very, very important.
Say, speaking of John, one of the most important books I've ever read, and is based on a recommendation from John, was Atomic Habits, and that book changed my mind on a lot of things. Couple that with Psycho-Cybernetics. Ooh, those two books right there. With that, we got a super chat. We had it right at the beginning of the show, so we're gonna read that, and then we'll go move on.
Let me make some comments on what you just said, and then if you don't mind, I'll bring our guest on. Is
Okay.
he there? I see him down there.
He was there for a second.
Well, we'll see. Maybe he'll come back. Huh? All right. So on the stress thing, burnout thing. Yeah, stress is important. And one of the things with burnout, it's so easy to miss, but the causes, I think Charles said, is multivariate, but there are categories. You got depression versus burnout. They're very different things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the types of burnout, sometimes you just don't notice because you get yourself trapped in circular thinking. Anybody ever go back over an argument or something that didn't go your well, and you're going over it and over it and over it in your mind after the fact? Like, why did we break up? I should have done this. I should have done that. That is a surefire way to introduce burnout psychologically to yourself and burn all of that energy in your brain. So overload burnout is also when you're working harder, you're frantic. That's a big one. It seems like people get stressed at work, and you always want to do more and do better. And then there's the under challenged burnout, where things are too comfortable. That's a little more rare, I've had that, but I don't need to talk about that. Then there's the neglect burnout, when that's really social burnout, when things happen. Habitual burnout, you're just doing the same thing over and over, and then chronic fatigue sets in. That's what's listed under WebMD. But I just wanted to mention burnout. Usually you don't know what's going on. And for me, I start getting snappy, angry, and dissatisfied with my output, or even dissatisfied with my emotional output, or my mental output, or even physical output. Now, some guys will come in and say, that's a great motivator. I'm not doing good enough. Let's go more. Yeah, I can see that, but I can also see where it leads. And the big thing I look for in all of these is I look for the physical signs. I use heart rate variability. I have an app to do it. You guys understand what heart rate variability is? When you're stressed out physically and mentally, there'll be a heart rate variability, and it actually, if it's pretty wild, you're going to get burnout, and you're going to get all the symptoms of burnout: the irritability, the forgetfulness, the overthinking. And so far as I can tell, like if you've looked at any Andrew Huberman's works, heart rate variability is a really good indicator of what's going on. And it's possible sometimes when we have burnout, we just sleep like shit, or we have hormone imbalance or low hormones, and we haven't looked in those directions. So I just use it as an indicator to make sure everything's okay. And then from there, I just take the elephant one bite at a time, AJ, and I don't start with the tail because it tastes like shit. Then I lose my appetite and I don't finish the elephant.
Gotcha. Let's do this super chat, and then we'll bring John up on stage. So, $4.99 super chat from Serge D. Mike, do the honors for reading.
Thank you, Thor and the Drakars. These DragonShip podcasts have helped me, this 24-year-old white and yellow trash Florida boy, out immensely.
Damn, that's good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Do we got an Odin for him? Where is the sounds? There we go.
Here we go. We're bringing in the OG.
Let's bring John to the stage. Good friend, good mentor.
The champ is here! The champ is here!
Gentlemen,
Take it full screen, man. Take it full screen.
there's no need for that. There's no need for that. I just came here. It's 3:00 in the morning. I'm on vacation in Okinawa, and I just wanted to show my support for you, Thor. That's why I said, hey, if you want me to come on, I'll come on. The guy said yes, so here we are. How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm living the dream just like you, man. And really, you're the OG, man. You brought so much of this together. I mean, me, Myron, Wraith. I mean, the list goes on and on. Sterling. I mean, in many ways, you were reaching out on social media when nobody else was, listening and talking. And
It is true.
even though you're kind of a butthole, you kind of have a lot of charm about you, you know? And so and you're easy to get along with, you know?
One of the great traits of a leader is to be disliked by everybody. So I'm okay with that because I know I'm doing the Lord's work. But I mean, all the guys in this panel, minus a couple, like one or two, I have had direct association with coaching them, you know, over the years. I think everybody here but the guy Nuke. So everybody here has received direct coaching from me and or has been part of the Masculine Empowerment Network. And yeah, man, no, I'm just, you know, it's the 6 degrees of MLD. If you go anywhere to the online self-help space for men, everybody comes back to me because I don't have an ego. I want to help everybody. I want to help everybody get to where they need to get. And I believe, you know, that we have so much work cut out for us that, you know, we need as much help as possible. So I'm just doing what, you know, I'm just like Thanos, right? I'm fulfilling my destiny. And I have to fucking... well, not even that. I'm just fulfilling my destiny and helping as many men as possible. You know, there's a beautiful woman in the bed that I'm neglecting right now, but you know, she could fucking just chill out. You know, she'll get some in the morning, but got to do the Lord's work. And like I said, I'm just here. Number one, it's not for me to fucking toot my horns and talk about how great I am. I got my channel for that. But you know, I really want to show that I care and I love you, and I'm here to support you forever, Thor.
I appreciate that. And I would never go that far. I would actually say that you have a lot to offer because really, you and I, here we are. In the beginning, most people weren't even doing stuff, and we're chatting and setting things up with Myron. It was really cool. Those times really, it was significant. And I am looking forward. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but when I came up with the project for this encyclopedia of the skills of a masculine presence, you had said you'd be willing to jump in there and write one of the books. I cannot wait to hear what you say because your experiences are really varied. I mean, you jumped out at a young age into the fire, went to Tokyo with nothing, and became a multi-million-dollar earner. And you know, you have a lot to share under those skill set. I imagine prosperity would be good, psychology, because you really put your heart and soul into it, and it shows. I mean, at my age, I can't do that, but I can definitely kind of coordinate that. And I can't wait to see the experiences and how it impacted everybody's life in these short essays. So hopefully we'll get that done within the next year, and you'll see MLD's book as well.
It'll happen. It'll happen. I want to add, because you asked everybody, what was the question you asked everybody specifically regarding burnout was?
Like, what have you felt it, and does it come on all of a sudden, or does it creep up? Which I know you've dealt with burnout, because I remember back in October of 21 when I was first starting coaching with you, there's a lot of stuff going on.
I live in a constant state of burnout, so it's the secret to burnout happens one of two things, right? One, it's stress mismanagement. That's the number one thing. Is because burnout is a biological response to having too much cortisol in your whole system, right? Yeah. That's the biggest thing. And, I would say this, in addition to that, the number one way that I believe you can combat burnout is you need to have a strong and powerful why. Why are you suffering? Why are you enduring? Why are you doing this? What is your why? And if your why is not strong enough, burnout will beat you. And our whys changes throughout our lives. You know what I mean? So for me, my why is just, I want to help as many men as possible. And I just believe, kind of like what Jim Rohn said. He said, if you want to get what you want in life, help as many people get what they want in life. I could pretty much go anywhere in the United States and call somebody that I've helped since I've been doing these live coaching sessions since 2019. I could call anybody in the United States. I could have somebody pick me up at the airport, give me money, give me food, give me a fucking gun, and I'll be good to go. Like I've done it multiple times in multiple states. So I got you, John. Why is the why? I know you do, bro. I love you. We went to Disney together, for fuck's sake. I know. I think that's a big part. And then the second, I would say the third component of combating burnout is to have is that the lightsaber you got, the dark saber?
That's the dark saber, yeah. I gotta replace the batteries.
I would say the third component is to have somebody you can talk to. And for me, that person is actually on this panel. It's Wraith. Wraith is actually 45, but I stress him out so much he looks like that because I call him and fucking bitch about everything. You know what I mean? So you got to have, I call Wraith. Wraith is like Wraith and Thor. I should probably call Thor more, but I call Wraith and bitch about my fucking life and how much I need help on a weekly, if not daily basis. And I think it's so important to know that you can't do this alone too. You're a fool if you think you're going to do this alone. You're an arrogant fool. You don't get anything in this life alone. And it's so important that you just have, a core tribe. I know it sounds like so trendy to say, but you need to have a core tribe of individuals that are on the same page as you so that they can understand what you're going through from an outsider's perspective and give you the perspective that you need in order to get through that time that you're suffering. Because burnout is just a short time, right? How I manage burnout is I work really, really hard and I collect stress and I collect, cortisol and I do all this crazy shit. And then I do what I'm doing now. I'm on vacation in Okinawa. I just did masculine empowerment. Enrollment was all of July. We went straight from July into the 2 weeks of webinars. Right after that was mid-August. I went from there to Bangkok, Thailand to do my immersion training that we just got done with. That was 20 days in Bangkok. I got off the plane, 3 days in Tokyo, and now I'm here with her. And I'm in Okinawa hanging out and releasing a lot of stress, mainly inside her. So.
Wow, that's so awesome. And you said something super profound. I'm going to repeat it back. You quoted, in a way, Viktor Frankl, which was a man with any why can endure anyhow.
Well, I'm the master of enduring. So,
well, now wait a minute. I'm trying to catch up, right?
But yeah, that's just my 2 cents on the issue, and I'm just here to add as much value as possible to help you out, Thor. Let me know.
Thank you, man. Hey, let's get back to our host, and we'll keep rolling along. What I'll ask you, I will, John. What symptoms do you notice when it's too much and you're starting to feel burnout? What do you notice? Because it creeps up on all of us. A lot of times, I don't notice, and I start turning into that asshole. And I
put the panel. Everyone on the panel should answer that one after John.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. So what I notice is that I just start to get fatigued, and I start to I start to lose morale. I know a lot of you guys are former military on here, and you know, once you lose morale, you lose everything. You can have the best fucking weapons, you can have the best commander, you can have the best strategy, but once morale is out the window, it's over. And that's the number one. And like here, you know, cue the X-Files theme. You know, that's the number one fucking, you know, goal of the elites or whoever the case may be, is demoralization. Once you demoralize a people, you've already won. You have completely won. And so I noticed that I start getting just very, very fatigued, and then the fatigue starts physically. You could typically push through that, but then burnout is all up here. And once you start fatiguing here and you start losing your morale here, then it cascades into everywhere. And if you don't, you have to listen to your body. You have to pump the brakes. And when you're a high performer, high achiever, high executioner like myself and a lot of guys in this panel, right? It is your duty to take a break. It is part of your job. You need to take a break. You need to, it is like your job. It's like, it is a requirement. You have to de-stress. You have to let this stuff out of you, because during that time you get more clarity. You put pieces together that we could put together before, and you're able to re-strategize and re-attack in a smarter, faster, and more efficient way. So that's how I believe it. You know, you really initially see the stages of burnout.
Yeah.
Viking, what about you with burnout? How do you feel it, or what happens with you when it comes on?
Well, now that I have a higher level of self-awareness, thanks to guys like MLD waking my dumb ass up, I pay attention to when I'm not being satisfied with things, when I'm losing that morale, right? Because that's the thing, that morale, that mindset is everything. If you don't have a plan, you don't have a goal, you don't have a strategy to execute that plan that's flexible enough to encounter, you know, pushback, blowback, whatever the case may be, you know, difficulties, you're not going to overcome. You're going to be one of those outcome independent people that's going to get super fucking, or dependent people that's going to freak out when things don't go your way. And then you're going to throw a tantrum, right? And you're going to get quicker to that point where you're going to start to want to react that way, right? Like Thor said, he noticed that when he starts feeling more emotion more quickly to an extreme, that's a good indicator of higher levels of stress that are causing you to lose your frame, right? Because your frame is that control. Your frame is that accountability, the masculine burden of performance. Like MLD said, you got to take accountability for your own well-being. If you don't, you're a bad leader, because then you get yourself sick, like I did, where I was overweight, I was obese, and I was being a fat ass, and that's affecting my mental state, my physical state, my life state, and the people around me are suffering because of it. And even though I want to help everybody, I'm not able to help them. And so where does it all start? I have to pay attention to me first. Like, hey, why am I acting this way? Why am I feeling this way? You know, the dreaded emotional intelligence word that is always talked about. Like I've said in previous episodes, that's one of the first things my dad taught me. Yo, you've got a monster inside of you. If you don't control it, it'll control you and hurt your loved ones. That monster is those stress levels. That monster is the the unreleased emotions that explode and take control because you can't deal with that chemical reaction that you've built up inside your body and your mind. Your physical health is your mental health, and people forget that. The physical health is a direct indicator of your mental health. So if you're physically unhealthy, this is why people don't respect fat people, right? Because if you're overweight or obese, you're not going to get as much respect because you are visibly unhealthy. You are visibly not responsible. And people just know it instinctually. It's an obvious thing. So like I said, for me, I'm just paying attention to myself. And when I start getting out of pocket from what my plan is now, that's when I go, okay, I might need to take the foot off the gas, take a short break, redirect myself, right? This is what hobbies are for. Give you enough of a distraction to relieve the mental stress, but don't use it as a crutch or a coping strategy, because that's where people become dependent on substances and video games and whatever other bad habit they build because they're doing it too much. You do anything for 21 days in a row, it can become a habit, and you can never rewrite bad habits. You can overwrite them.
Good. Nuke. Same question.
So how do I know I'm feeling burnout? For the guys that were in the military here, we're kind of taught to ignore our burnout. We're taught to, like, just trudge on. You're tired. Who cares? And we have our ways of coping. And I think a lot of the guys in here, I'll speak for a couple of guys in here, is that you start using stimulants, right? Because you're just like, no, I got to get this done. So whether it be like coffee, energy drinks, right? Which kind of like, Bang's really strong energy drink. So you start using stimulants. Yeah.
Oh man, I got 2 6s in right now, John.
I'm about to go grab some right now.
Otherwise, man, we're human beings, right? So we don't really get the grace of like, hey, I'm feeling tired publicly. We have to manage our own. No one's coming to our rescue when we're burnt out unless we really seek people that we trust, like other men that we trust, right? So what we do is that we cope. And one of the ways we cope is that you kind of are in denial, right? So you use stimulants saying, hey, I'm not tired. I just had a bad night's sleep. But in reality, you've been at this project. You've been at this piece of work that you're trying to get done. You've been at this relationship for months and it's wearing you out. And you may say, hey, no, I haven't been getting sleep lately. It'll go away. But it's just like, dude, you're at 500 milligrams of coffee and you're getting nothing done. So abusing stimulants, is one of the ways I know I'm burning out. Another one is I'm doing a lot of stuff, but I'm doing nothing well. Like if I'm taking piano lessons, I just can't get through a measure of music. Or if I'm at the gym, I'm just like fighting to like get through a set. I'm just like, man, like usually I'm good at, like 2 months ago I was like crushing it, but now I'm just like, don't even want to be here. I just want to get this done. And then the last thing would be obviously like libido. Like I just don't want to go on dates. I just stop, like, hey, I don't want to hang out or anything this weekend when I should be socializing and stuff. I just want to stay in. Staring at screens. Like sometimes when you're burnt out, you'll turn on Twitter or YouTube and you're just there for hours with your mouth open, just looking at stuff. When in reality, you should be resting, but you just don't want to accept that you're done. And because for us guys, being done means we die. Like in our psyche, being tired means the rest of the group is going to be like, man, this guy is not competent. He's a loser. He gets tired easily. He's not going to be able to help us hunt this woolly mammoth. So a lot of guys lie. They lie to themselves. They lie to others. Hey, how you doing, man? I'm fine. Whatever. It's like, no, dude, you look tired, bro. Like, you need to. So be honest with yourself. And that's how I know personally. It's the stimulants and staring at screens for no reason for long periods of time and all that. So
yeah. Mike.
I'm going to answer your question, but I'm also going to address this. Is there respect for some level of rotund like Churchill? No. Or did his status just supersede his rotundity? Yes. Basically, you reach a point where, kind of like Roosevelt, you kick so much ass, nobody cares that you're fat. But you have to kick so much ass that it's just beyond ridiculous. So that's not a good strategy. Obviously, if Churchill was ripped, then he would be at an even higher status. But yes, he's revered for his accomplishments, not because he was large. But to answer your question, AJ, the man right next to me taught me that when you are stressed, when you are stressed and you are getting burnout, even if you're not, don't share anything with your coworkers. Your coworkers are not your friends. They will stab you in the back the first chance they get to get ahead. This man was with me the day that I was falsely removed from a previous position before my current position. John, I don't know if I told you this. I am now the systems administrator of a large casino here in Las Vegas, and we're tearing it down and we're building a brand new one.
You'd be happy to know that I have been stalking you, and I do know that. I keep tabs on everybody that I've coached, and I love that name, Mike Steele. You know, what was it before? Like Nerdy Fag or something? What was it?
Geeky Anomaly. Yeah.
Geeky Anomaly.
Yeah, it took me a month after him coming out of the panel to realize, I'm like, wait a second.
So
I told him to get rid of that name because it's fucking bullshit.
Because no one can spell it and no one can pronounce it. Like bimbos see Anomaly and they go, I don't care. Who's this guy over here? Basically, yeah. If you can't shout it across a club, it sucks. But basically, yeah, don't share this with your colleagues. If you're burned out at work, do not share with that at work. Don't share that with your woman. None of that. Have your brotherhood or tribe, as we often say here, share it with them. Vent to them, because yeah, if someone at work catches wind that you're having a moment, they will take that moment and they will strike while the iron is hot to get rid of you. Whether they're your peer, below you, above you, they will find a reason. Believe me, I am living proof, and I have survived.
Yeah, that's good
That was
advice.
one of the best things that happened to you, though. I mean, you're balling now, bro.
Yes, I love my job. It's a fantastic company, and very, very minimal DEI wokeness in the company. Incredibly minimal. And my boss now is a retired Marine.
Excellent.
So I answer to a man, a real man, and so he and I work very well together. I love that guy. I'll never tell him that, but I love that guy.
Well, he knows. That's
Great. Same question.
I guess for me, how I notice it is when I can't focus or I start losing focus on things.
Mhm.
Because that's I'm pretty driven most of the time, like 99.9% of the time. So when I can't focus on what I'm trying to drive towards or complete, I have to step away. And I'm one of those that I'll walk away from it for a while and then come back to it. Like this book that I wrote for Thor. I started writing that book for myself 2 years ago. And I just kind of like walked away from it because at that time I just couldn't focus on what I wanted to say. But, Thor kind of re-energized the need. So I made it a priority and a need for me, and I got it written in like 3 weeks. So,
amazing.
yeah. And I'm like, like Nuke said, I'm prior military, so you tend to, or you're required and taught to disregard burnout. You're just going to push through.
Indeed.
And like he said, sometimes pushing through isn't the answer because everything suffers.
Yeah, I lost some friends because we were just taught, hey, you got a divorce and then your brother died within 3 weeks. You got to keep going. I'm just like,
Yep.
no, dude, you just send that guy away. You need to let him take care of his issues, like financially and whatever, like logistically. Give him some time. Don't give him a lot of work. Maybe have other guys take on some of his work. But in the military, we don't think like that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Sometimes if you're dealing with someone with burnout stuff, give them grace, give them support, and they'll recover. If it's in your brotherhood, and you have to take that into consideration. Most men don't dislike other men or kick them out of the group for failure. It's how they respond to the failure, and if they can respond to if you can give them grace and they respond in a way that they become a better person, then they stay in the group, and that teaches the other men to give grace to you if it ever happens to you. But like I said, for me, it's focus, and I'm kind of rededicated to focus right now. I've written like 3 books in the last 2.5 months, so
Nice.
I don't know how long I'll be able to maintain that at my age, but I'm going to keep going until I can.
Your age of 45.
I haven't called him in the last 2 months as well. That's also why.
Probably in the last 2 days. So come on.
Hey,
You got
AJ.
another 40 years to go. Come on, man.
Yes, sir.
AJ, I'd like to address this here real quick.
All right.
You guys will be talking on this in a few years, mark my words. Not every lazy person is a sack of shit. Do not confuse laziness for moving in silence. Just because you don't see the hard work doesn't mean they're not doing it. People criticize guys like Elon Musk all the time. Oh, he just came out of nowhere and got lucky and got rich and had everything handed to him. No, because you didn't see all the ass he was busting and the sleepless nights for years before he became a success. And it was becoming a success that turned all the spotlights and cameras on him. So again, do not confuse laziness with moving in silence.
And
I love what you said. I'm stealing that.
Don't think that men look at people and say that person is lazy because they're not accomplishing. Okay, we look at men based on what they contribute. And if you're not accomplishing, something that's keeping you from accomplishing, maybe laziness, but some people use laziness as a general term for not accomplishing. And I think in this group here, I know all these guys. We don't look at people as being lazy in the sense that they're not wanting to do something. We look at it as what's blocking them from doing something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to address this too, if I can.
Go ahead.
So I saw the original chats before they posted that. It's pure cope. They're talking about new studies coming out showing that what is it, adrenal fatigue and stuff like that. These are all real factors. But here's the thing: the Navy SEALs know this. They have something called the 40% rule. As a human being, when you think you've given your maximum, your all, everything you could possibly give, you've only actually done about 40%. That's the reality. A human being has limiters in place well below 50% to keep you safe and to keep you from getting build-up injuries, repetitive stress injuries and stuff like that. So you're able to override those safety protocols in tough situations or in a situation where you do need to embrace the suck, right? That is the thing. Sometimes you do need to embrace the suck and persevere to get the win. But the question is, are you doing it foolishly, banging your head against a brick wall, or are you actually getting somewhere? Are you making progress or are you not? And this is where a lot of people like to cope, and like I used to, and be like, oh no, I could if I wanted to, and some people just can't do it. It's just like, no, most people can. Most people are just being foolish, and all human beings are naturally lazy for calorie conservation. We are fortunate enough now to live in a society, most of us, where we have all the calories we could need and then some. And many of us overconsume them like I did and become a fat piece of shit. Right. And like MLD woke me up finally one day, looking right in his camera and yelling, yo, if you're sick of being a fat piece of shit, stop being a fat piece of shit. Download my free course and do that shit for 3 months and then get back to me.
Or in my case,
he did, and it worked.
In my case, right, in a monthly coaching, how tall are you? 5'8". How much do you weigh? 185. You're a fat fuck. And now I haven't been above 170 in 3 years. I bounced between 155 and 165.
Yeah, when it comes to
notorious fat shamer.
Fat shaming works.
When it comes to the stress thing, is like I said, you can handle a lot more stress than most people understand. Right? The kind of stress that MLD is dealing with is like 80% more than most people would be able to comprehend. They'd give up way sooner. But most of us on this panel are just crazy enough to not give up. Right? So that's the thing. Smart people tend to give up sooner because it's this smart thing to do. The same way your body's going to scream at you. Now, stress, the guy that originally coined the term and whatnot about stress, Penn and Teller did a show on HBO called Bullshit, where they debunk certain topics. They did a whole fucking show about this, about how stress was never understood to be a limiting factor in the way the person in chat is describing. That's all bullshit that pussies came up with to make themselves feel better about being pussies.
Gotcha. And let's get back to
there is a caveat to that, though. I want to just add that. I just want to add a small caveat to that. Like, there is certain people are limited. I'm not trying to give a pass out to people, but some people, like, they're just not going to be able to do some things that you guys can do. Right? Like, for me to sit down and write a book, that's going to be a fucking challenge of a lifetime. But and then there's people like people who are functionally retarded, like Aaron Clary, who write books like fucking nonstop, so like we all just got to get in where we get fitted, but you don't use that as an excuse to be lazy is like to add on to what you were saying there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and we got ways to help you too, MLD, on that thing. We might just do an interview with you to get your stories out, stuff like that.
I'll write it. I just got to stop coping. I'll write it.
Laurent, same here, man. MLD, I'm in the same boat. I'm having writer's block, and I barely started.
Yeah, Laurent, what about you? Do you feel how do you feel burnout?
Get your writer's block. Get your ass over here.
Laurent starts drinking barbecue wine.
Yep, you're now there.
When he's burned out. He starts drinking barbecue wine when he's burned out.
Barbecue wine.
It's interesting that we actually have to ask the question. So the fact that we need to ask the question to actually know, oh, are you aware that you burnt out? That means that we're taught and we train and we're valued for pushing through. That's the first thing. And everything that all of you guys said boiled down to one thing: brain fog. We have a constant brain fog that leads to fatigue, as MLD said. Brain fog that leads to lack of focus, as Wraith said. So it's brain fog, and being aware of the brain fog, and also lack of priorities. And the manifestations are in the schedule and the habits that we have daily. These are very clear.
Well, speaking of that,
also
you know,
putting on
Laurent,
weight or losing weight, losing sleep. So clear. Yes, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't hear because I stepped away from it. Go ahead. I didn't hear you were speaking. Go ahead.
No, please.
Oh, you were talking about brain fog, and
Please,
then when
you're the captain
I
of
leaned
this.
over, I lost the hearing. But speaking of brain fog, man, you're right. We all do. And my good friend just wrote a book about it, which is The Essential Skills of a Masculine Presence on Psychology in Paradigm, and why his instructions on creating a paradigm can help eliminate that brain fog. He actually has a chapter on it in his book that's absolutely addressed what you just did. You might have read it. That's why you brought it up. But no, the brain fog thing is a big deal when it comes to burnout. You just feel foggy, so you're missing pieces and things like that. Man, burnout's a tough thing. I usually don't recognize it. I just turn into a raging asshole, and then I have to kind of back off and go, okay, all right, that's really not who I am. I mean, I'm the guy that wants to pay it forward, because when you do, the universe just treats you so much better. So, yeah. But Paul, I have to mention Paul's book. Yeah, I'm gonna drop it in the chat. Did a good job, and it addresses this in one chapter specifically, Laurent, on the brain fog. So,
Do you guys think that a lot of guys prefer staying burnt out? I'm sorry, did I interrupt Laurent? I'm sorry.
I was going to do Laurent, then Huds, myself, and then probably have you do what you were going to talk about and then mid-roll it.
Yeah.
Okay, screw it. I'll hold it that. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, Laurent, finish up your thought?
Oh,
To
internet.
show that to Nuke, Serge Lutens, this is the perfume. Once you ask about perfume, last time I went partying with outlaws in Bangkok, and Serge Lutens, I mean, this guy only compares with himself. This is the best perfume in the world. Nothing comes remotely close. It's like Chateau d'Yquem for wine. It only compares to itself. So Serge Lutens, a free plug-in. All right, gentlemen.
All right. Huds.
Does that have pheromones in it?
You guys have kind of already covered everything.
I mean, chicks turn like head turn up for chicks. They're like,
What you know?
hey, this guy smells good.
Good stuff. You guys kind of covered everything, but the things for me that I notice a lot, what Nuke had mentioned when it comes to libido, like my libido tanks. And somebody at this age, you should be able to and want to bang out at least once a day. When I notice sometimes that it's been like 3 days and it's getting to the point where my girl's getting pissed off at me, I'm like, okay, something is seriously wrong. And then also when I start to have that emotional dysregulation, I have less control over my emotions than normal, where I'm snapping and I'm just not being pleasant. Like as Thor said, you just become a raging asshole. So I find that those two things, as soon as I notice a stark drop in my libido, and then I notice certain scenarios where I didn't respond the more stoic, normal way that I would, that's when I have to take a look at myself and reprioritize what I'm doing.
Well, isn't it true that cortisol suppresses your testosterone?
Yes.
So stress increases cortisol. If you listen to what every guy has said around the panel, fatigue, brain fog, low libido, irritability, aka lack of stoicism, all of that is caused by low T.
Can be, yeah.
Cortisol is the number one thing you don't want high levels of. I mean, it fucking nukes your hair. It stores fat. It eats muscles. It fucking stresses the shit out of your central nervous system. It's just the worst thing ever. I have like, I go to the doctor, like, I get tested all the time, and they're just like, so is everything okay? Your cortisol's like through the roof. I'm like, no, I'm just, like I said, I live in a constant state of burnout, so, but having that, you have to really, like, I pay money. I live in Tokyo. It's fucking expensive. I pay a lot of money to go to like get massages and stuff because I know like this is the product, and if this biological unit is not fucking taken care of, you really are going to just burn the candle at both ends and end up dying soon. Like, and I learned that at the beginning of my YouTube journey because, like, 2000. Look at me in 2019 and look at me now. I look fucking younger now, and I'm fucking 6 years older than when I started. Because if you do not mitigate your levels of cortisol, and like what Thor said with the heart rate variability, I have an Aura ring. I live and die by my Aura ring. I live and die by the sleep tracker, and everything. I have a mentor, Brandon Carter's mentoring me now. Thank God for him. And he is like super dialed in with so many things. Like he has a chilled mattress pad, which I just got, which helps me get deeper sleep. I have like a humidifier in my room. I sleep with an eye mask on. My room is pitch black. Like I don't date girls that are slobs or just like I intentionally cook initially pretty early on when I'm filtering out new girls, and if she doesn't offer to do the dishes, I'm like, yep, you're done. Like I don't have time for fucking raising a child, so it's like you have to really look at your environment, look at everything, and this includes social media, because I know there's a lot of red pill masturbators out there. They love to fucking watch fucking doom porn, and they love to watch fucking she's gonna cheat on you and this and all this shit, and then you are flooding yourself with stressful content, and then you wonder why you can't function, and all you're doing is pumping yourself full of stressful content. This is why I'm always saying, cut these motherfucking people off, cut them off, and with the quickness. They just did a study. I saw the study the other day, right? They did a random study where they put one negative person in a group, right? And this was just a controlled study environment, okay? And they had like it was groups of 5 and one negative person. And when they had the negative person in the group, their performance overall was decreased by 25%. Their morale was down. Like everything across the board was tanking and going the opposite direction of what they wanted to go. So you really have to curate your environment. Like AJ was talking about in the book, The Atomic Habits. You are not as strong and as independent as you think you are. You need to curate your environment. Like my girl, right, this girl now, there was an earthquake scare in Tokyo the other day. All the Japanese people were freaking out. Like, this mega earthquake is coming. She was freaking out. She's like, we need to get supplies. So she went and bought ramen and Oreos. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? Bringing this shit into the house, okay? So she goes, she buys ramen and Oreos. She's like, we're safe now. I'm like, we live on the 58th floor in a penthouse. If an earthquake happens, we're fucked, okay? Like, we just need to hold my dog, and we'll just pray to Jesus, and then we just die, But she's like, no, I got Oreos. And guess what? I eat all those fucking Oreos because I know if you bring Oreos around me, I'm going to eat them. I'm American. Okay?
Were they the Coke Oreos?
No. They don't have all the fucking cancer shit out here. They just have regular Oreos in Japan.
What are you talking about? They got 500 versions of Kit Kat.
Well, yeah, she didn't buy Kit Kat. She bought Oreos.
Okay.
And
I need those fucking Kit Kats too, all the fucking 900 flavors.
Gotcha. For me to answer the question, yes, I agree with everyone here. Like, I'm starting to get that irritability right now because I'm in the process of selling this house so I can move closer to work, and I had all that stuff with work. So like the libido is starting to tank a little bit. The cortisol levels are up, and I'm working night shift. But another one is, and Fowler kind of is the one that explained it to me when after I kind of figured it out and working with him for a little bit, is I get a little bit of physical pain in the neck, right where the neck and the shoulders meet, and then right where the bicep meets the elbow. I'll feel pain there as well when my stress levels start to rise. So I don't know if anyone else gets a little bit of that psychosomatic physical pain.
Yes. I get like a jaw lock soreness over here. I grit my teeth while I sleep.
Yeah, dude, I have a mouthpiece. My dentist just made one for me. I fucking grit the shit out of these veneers.
Oh shit.
Oh man.
All right, with that, it's time to do a mid-roll, and then Nuke had a thought. So after the thought, let Nuke talk.
Ever feel like the world is trying to make you smaller? That the qualities that used to define you are now something to be ashamed of? It's not just you. For decades, society has been pushing men to fit into a mold that doesn't match who they are. But there's a way out, a path to reclaim what it means to be a man. A Dominant Masculine Presence by R.P. Thor is the guide you've been waiting for. In this book, you'll discover the 7 essential skills that every man needs to stand tall and take control. Learn how to project confidence, master your emotions, and communicate with authority. RP Thor takes you through real-life examples, sharing practical techniques to help you develop your own dominant masculine presence. It's time to stop feeling sidelined. Time to step up and lead. With a dominant masculine presence, you can become the man you were meant to be. Order a Dominant Masculine Presence now on Amazon or listen on Audible. Rediscover your strength. Reclaim your life.
And Nuke, you had something to say right before that, and this guy also wants to know the name of your channel.
The name of my channel is
I'll throw it in
Caudillo.
the chat for him.
Throw it in the chat. I just question for you guys, see, bounce off your perspective. Do you guys believe a lot of people prefer or stay in a burnout state because switching gears to relaxation or just lower output is hard? For example, when COVID happened, right, and everything shut down, everyone was like, everyone was working hard, normal life, and then COVID happened, and it kind of like a lot of responsibilities and things went away because you simply couldn't go outside as much, and a lot of people got really anxious, right? And then it like evolved into like BLM riots and people destroying things and fighting online all the time. And I think it was they went from being these super busy people with their own lives and worried about themselves, and then they all that stress went away of just not having to deal with as much things and having such a complicated life, to just worried about, am I going to live because COVID is here to kill me or something. Do you guys think that it's hard to switch gears and that's why a lot of people stay in a burnout state forever?
I don't think COVID is a good example because you have the mainstream media and the politicians, particularly the left-leaning ones, drumming up panic revolving around the whole thing. So that was an extra factor. That wasn't all their responsibilities being taken away. It was that plus the people who vote differently from you are evil, plus this thing is going to kill you, plus anyone who doesn't believe this thing is going to kill you is also evil. So I think that was a factor that played into that.
Well, the question still stands. Do you think it's hard to switch gears from being in a burnout state to being relaxed again and having like, hey, I've been doing this for 3 months. Let me just chill for a month and then 3 months again. Like, it's like the whole coffee rotation where you drink coffee for 8 weeks and then you get off for a week and then you come back on. Like, why is it so hard to schedule your relaxation for people?
I just think people are fucking stupid. But I will say this, right? You're going to take a break whether you like it or not. You're either going to burn out into a breakdown or you're going to take a scheduled break. But I just think, people are just, they lack awareness. They don't get it. And, that I think it's just, you got to look at the bell curve, man. That and honestly, I hate to fucking give this fucking idiot credit, but Aaron Clary's book, the Curse of the High IQ, okay? Great fucking book. And it lets you know how stupid everyone actually is. And the smarter you are, the more isolated you are. But that's a side point. The point I'm trying to make is look how many fat fucks are running around America. Like, didn't they, like, where were you 30, 40 pounds ago to realize, like, hey, there's a problem here. You're starting to look like the mannequins in Target, but they don't get it. And so it's just a big problem. I just think that a lot of people lack awareness. I mean, that's why we're in business. That's why people watch us. People are lost and they need help. You know what I mean? So I just think I think people are just dumb. They don't get it. I think that's my personal take on it.
It's laziness.
It's got to do with the. It's not just laziness. Like I said, all human beings are naturally lazy. It's got to do with the habit forming.
Laurent, exactly. When you're in a habit loop and you're doing something and then you quickly switch gears, that's hard. It's hard to rewrite, as you were saying, Tarl, rewrite over those previous habits.
Laurent, go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, one word for you. One word for you, Nuke. Guilt.
We're losing audio.
Laurent, you're lagging a little bit.
Well, let's just wait for him and let him talk.
Oh, sorry about this. Yeah. One word for you. One answer for you, from my perspective, is guilt. Because we train to push on, to push through, and the idea of relaxing is, how can I relax if I don't produce? So I feel guilty. So guilt is a motivator in my case, and I suspect that for some people, shame or guilt or version of it is also a motivator that keeps us pushing through. Because relaxing, taking time.
Unfortunately, we're losing audio. We're losing almost all of it. So
Yeah.
we
Oh,
can
that's that
come
long.
back. I'm not sure why that's happening.
Laurent, as rich as you are, you need to get some fucking good internet, man.
There you go.
We were all thinking it. John finally said it.
Hey, I said it the other day, man, but it wasn't on air.
Gotta upgrade that internet, Laurent.
Man's calling about 56K modem that he's like riding on a bike to fucking get the internet going.
I think it's years, like when you're like burnt out and you're like finishing something big, like a book or a project or something, right? A task. You're just like, I'm almost done, and then you're just like, okay, at some point when this is done, I'm gonna go on vacation. But then you're like, no, I got to keep the momentum going. I think it's hard for guys to kind of disengage. I know when I got back from deployment, it was incredibly hard to not be stressed. It was like a skill I had to learn to not. Like, I was yelling at cars on the road that were not even in my lane, and I had to literally sit down with my chief and be like, "Hey, chief, like, I picked up my mom at the airport, and I gave her a hug, and I still didn't feel calm. Like, when you meet your mom, if you like your mom, right, you're supposed to be like, mom. But when I hugged my mom, I was just like, why do I feel like I still, like, I'm holding on to like stress?" And he said, when you get back from deployment, all soldiers, sailors, whatever, they go through this where switching gears from being, sergeant nuclear or sergeant whatever you are, to being you yourself, a normal person. That's an incredible amount of effort and work psychologically, and that's why there's so many cases of men beating their wives when they get back from deployment. It's because they just cannot handle not being stressed. And it's, they have to train us and be like, hey, if your wife's a little annoyed with you, it's because she loves you. It's not because she's trying to get you to do anything crazy. Like, relax. And I know, AJ, you've gotten the same training I did, where like they told us, hey, when you're back on American soil, relax. You're back home. There's nothing to worry about. Just be yourself. It's gonna be okay.
I got that right after my first time in Ohio.
You have to be able to condition. Well, we're all talking at the same time, but you have to be able to condition the relaxation response. It's not something that's natural for men to begin with, and you have to be able to condition yourself to understand what the relaxation response feels like to begin with, and you have to condition your mind to be able to turn that on and off when we need it. Because men all, for most of the time, men live in a hyperactive state of trying to compete. Okay. And it's not competing with each other. It's more of a competition. It's competing with yourself to get the things done that you think you need to get done to be successful and be a provider and all those things that we all talk about all the time. So you have to condition yourself to relax. John has conditioned himself to relax, because I know John from Blackboard John, and he didn't relax when he was Blackboard John or Whiteboard John, whatever you want to call it. So
it's racist.
Yes. I always try, but you have to condition yourself to do that, and we're not taught to do that as men. Okay, we're not taught to celebrate our wins, unless we do it as a group. And if it's a group function, we celebrate with each other. But when we have those personal wins, we're not taught to celebrate those. One of the things that we talk about in men, and sometimes on this podcast, is learn to celebrate your successes. Because when you celebrate your successes, it defines a point that you can say, okay, now I can relax. Now, you don't want to stay in that state all the time, but you want to reach some point of normalcy. Just like I wrote when Pookie asked about grace. Is grace for men different? It is different, because our grace is still dependent on that person returning to normal. Okay, And it's not them. We're not going to continue to make excuses for them. We are going to allow them to return to normal behavior, normal performance. That's an expectation that men have when they give grace. Same thing with relaxation. We have to condition ourselves to do that. We have to say, this is where I was, this is what I've accomplished, this is where I'm going to be now.
Yeah, I mean, I did an interview with Terrence Pop. I don't know if you guys know Terrence, and he
Very
said
well.
one of the he's a cool guy. I bought him a pizza. He's awesome.
Good man.
And he said that one of the things that he tells younger guys that are getting out of the military is that everyone's going to say, hey, you're not in the military anymore, relax. And he says, people want you to disengage at their pace, but remember, this is at your pace. You had a long career. It was painful, whatever you did, right? So just give yourself grace and realize that you're learning a new skill, that is how to relax. And that is a skill. I didn't know it was, but apparently it is, and it's hard. It's harder than it looks like. So
Yeah. With that, we got a super chat from Danny Arnold, $9.99.
I think you should get the Odin and the video.
I can't find the video.
Don't we have the video?
We don't have the $10. He's redoing it. We have the $20.
Let's. You know what? He just threw 60. Maybe we
Drop
should-
him the $20 one.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Super chat will see you there. Shake it, dance without a care. Send it love from everywhere. Groovy beats we all can share. Your support is so divine. Moving closer to the line. Thank you, you're the best. Party on, we never rest.
And MLD, if you're curious where that comes from, you have Paul Bauer to thank for that.
Disavow.
The only gap that actually counts. The only gap that actually counts.
So, Danny Arnold with the $10 super chat. Thank you so very much. Haven't brought out this guy in a while. I can offer this much. My favorite way to deal with stress is martial arts. For me, it's Kenpo specifically. It doesn't help quickly, mind you, but by the time it's the end of class, I feel fantastic, like having sex with a woman and coming. It's great, yeah?
Mike, give me a
He
sound.
has a good point there.
Yeah. Tell me it's not a tumor.
It's not a tumor.
It's not a tumor. He made so much money for that movie.
And Thor, your little brother's in that movie, right? Kindergarten Cop?
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
My young brother was a child, a rather famous child actor, yes.
Is he the one that said boys have penises, girls have vaginas, right?
Yes, he was definitely fully not woke at that time.
That's cool.
Yeah, he's pretty much my son. Yeah.
What this guy said about doing martial arts, for me, and I mean, I think AJ can relate to this because I know AJ. I don't know if anybody else here actually trains, but I know AJ does. But after a good spar, a good brawl, a good kickboxing round. I'm just kickboxing. I don't do MMA yet. It's just too much on the body. But after a good, even get cracked in the face. I don't know what it is about fighting, but for me, I'm just in the best mood after I'm done. Even if I'm taking an ass beating, it truly raises your vibe. I don't know what it is, but as a man, this is why I stress it so hard to every guy. Go and learn how to fight. This is what I do in my boot camps now, because everybody thinks, what are the top 3 things guys ever think they're great at? Every guy thinks they're great at picking up chicks. Every guy thinks that they're great in bed, and every guy thinks that he can win a fight no matter what. And I really love to smash their reality by beating the fuck out of them on these fucking immersion trips that I do now. And it
take
really
your girlfriend, right?
Nah, I'm not a tyrant. I don't want their girlfriends anyways. But I just think it's such a great stress reliever and such a great way to lower your cortisol, and I can't explain it. I think it's because you're releasing all that stress when you fight and everything.
And the camaraderie there.
Yeah, the camaraderie, and I don't know. For me, maybe I'm just I like violence, but I just fighting. It just releases so much stress from me. I'm in such a good mood. I was in Bangkok just last week, and we went hard. We were partying hard, and I got sick. But even on the day that we had to do, you know, I call it MLD's Ring of Fire. When we had to fight, you know, I was hacking up fucking green shit in between rounds. But when I was done, like, everybody was in such a good mood, and it was so funny. Two of the guys who were having so much trouble with girls that night, they went out and got laid. You know, so I just really think it's like it's a super cheat code for men. You got to go out, you got to fight. You know, it's just I cannot stress it enough. And I know Laurent. Actually, yeah, I know Laurent is actually actively boxing and training right now too. And so, I mean, maybe you guys can add on to this, but I cannot stress it enough. Like, go and fight in a controlled environment. Go start a bar fight, but go fight. Yeah,
There's actually physiological reasons to that. Is the high adrenaline is massive. It creates the neuroplasticity. Your body responds to physical stress on this earth, Stu, particularly when it's physically exhausted beyond what you think, almost to the point of injury, and in some cases just crossing that line slightly. And it releases much more endorphins and even more neurochemistry that in some ways it's rather spiritual. You'll know what I'm talking about if you've done the fight game or done any of that sort of stuff. That's pretty amazing I think it's a recovery mechanism, but it's also because you put yourself under so much stress that the pain's coming, there's a lot coming, and we need to keep you up and going. But I don't have it on the tip of my tongue, but there are physiological reasons when you get in that environment, it actually produces, you know, those euphoric moments.
Oh yeah.
And it's beneficial.
For me, it's something like almost akin to runner's high when I've done it with bicycling and with BJJ. When you start getting into a good roll and you get into that endorphin flow state runner's high, like that's after I hit that, that's when I feel like the least amount of stress, actually, even if I'm getting my ass kicked in that circumstance.
It's pretty amazing.
And this is a fictional example, but it's based on a real thing. In the Lord of the Rings, before the hobbits depart for Mount Doom to destroy the ring, Sam's got this gal at the bar at the inn, Rosie, and he kind of like makes eyes at her, but he's like too nervous to ever like talk to her or anything. Sam goes through all that shit, killing orcs, trudging through fire, carrying Frodo, killing Sauron and all that, and he comes back to the Shire. He takes one sip of his ale, and what's the first thing he does? Gets up off his ass, asks that gal out, and then he marries her. Because it's the same concept. It's fantastic.
Yeah, that's why I was so critical of the person in chat trying to talk about, the limits and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, we have limits. Understanding those limits is the key to success. You know, because it's just a pure cope to say that, stress, like so we'll give a real life example. You gave a fictional example, real life example. Even training alone growing up, to learning how to break 2x4s with my bare fucking knuckles, because my dad was just like, if you can break a 2x4, you can break a jaw. And he showed me he could do it. And he's just like, you're going to learn how to do this at 9 years old. And he started me out with popsicle sticks. And then you going around the yard, I'd pick up sticks and then I'd break all the sticks, put them in the fire pile. Right. And then the landlord would bring out furniture and shit like that. And I'd break it up into smaller pieces, and then I'd set them up and I'd punch them. Right. And I did that shit endlessly. And I always felt amazing, even though I was angry at my father for his drinking and all the other bullshit going on in my life. After I would exert physical prowess and got to the point where I was actually breaking 2x4s on the regular with my bare fucking knuckles, even from the narrow side, not just the broad side, I'm going like, holy shit, did I, even I, when I say it, people say, oh, that sounds ridiculous. But it's something that I set out to do. I train diligently every fucking day. And that's not even the most ridiculous thing that I train myself to do. I was homeschooled. And all I had to do in my free time, my dad was like, you're going to train. And he gave me wax on, wax off training methods where I was doing shit around the house and still training my physical attributes. And then my brothers were trying to attack me for doing so well. Right? I had two little brothers, 6'3", right? I'm 5'9". And they're always challenging me, thinking they're better than me. Like MLD said, everybody thinks they're better than you, right? They think they're better than everybody else. It's instinctual for humans. We got to assume that. That's why we're so successful as a species. So on a base level, you do have that in you. But this is also why combat is not a bad thing if done correctly. It does set your mind right, just like hitting the gym and eating right and all these other things that are actually natural and good for you. Stress is not bad for you when done correctly. Just like depression, stress is a motivator. And if you ignore it, you will suffer.
Indeed.
So let me ask a question of the group. So burnout, a lot of people have it and they broadcast it at work with their groups. There must be some benefit in announcing that you have burnout. I think that we get stuck in routines, just like Nuke had said. There's a routine of being on high alert all the time that you can't let go when you come back from. What do you guys think about that?
I can answer this one.
Some people find benefit in burnout because they're getting sympathy.
I think it's
That's what I would say.
Sympathy and dopamine hits.
Yeah. Oh, poor baby. We live in this big old fucking oppression Olympic society. Like, oh, I'm Zer, oppressed brown person, oppressed whatever fucking bullshit you need to come up with. And it's just everybody, because I think it all boils down to the fucking brokenness of the American family, quite frankly. Because if you raise in a secure home, like, you don't need external validation from people. But these people, you know, they don't know how to manage their lives. They don't know how to manage their stress. And then what do? They go and vomit their fucking cancer all over you. Like, oh, my life is shit, blah, blah. And once you click, because, you know, a lot of you guys here go to the inner game stuff that I talk about with Brian Fowler. You know, once you get your shit sorted out, like, you realize, like, you don't need anyone but yourself. You only need your validation. You only need your comfort. You only need that. And then when you clean out your inner game, like, I can't be around somebody who's negative now. I can't. I'm like, yo, get this person away from me and knock this motherfucker out. You have to protect your peace. And I think a lot of these people, they just don't know how to manage themselves. I mean, these fuckers don't even know how to manage their weight. They don't even know how to manage their lives. They don't know how to manage their bank accounts. So, like, it's not surprising that they're going to sit around and cry. But we live in this sit around and cry economy now, sit around and cry culture. And I just think, you know, that's just where we are. But I think that's why people mainly do it. It's just because, you know, they really just can't. They see no other way. You know, it's like, I think it was Norman Vincent Peale who doesn't. I agree with him on this. He hates charity because charity perpetuates the very thing you're trying to get rid of. You know, it becomes a way of living. You know what I mean? So if you're like constantly like, because, you know, we all have that one friend who keeps on dating that fucking crazy coked up whore, and he's like, I got back with her, she's gonna change this time. You're like, no, she's not, dummy. And this motherfucker keeps coming back to you. And what happens? We're all saying on this panel, eventually, like, all right, look, dude, you need to go, get the fuck out of here. And I like, you know, some people are just lost cause. So, and there's a lot of people lost out there. I mean, you know, that's my take on it.
Yeah, no kidding. And do you think that culture? I mean, burnout, just from an outsider, I don't even know. But in some cultures, it doesn't appear as prevalent, burnout. It's like life is so hard, there ain't time for burnout. And then when we get it easy and we have these luxury beliefs, it seems like we require
no problem.
the burnout a little bit more when we have this ability to have these luxury beliefs. Anyway, just an observation. Am I wrong?
It's very cultural.
I don't know on that, Thor, because one thing that I found interesting is that I recently, like, I guess not recently now, since I've been there for a while, but I've been working for a company out of Canada. And even though they have the luxuries and everything, they don't seem to experience burnout, and they tend to move at a pace that allows them to keep their peace and keep their stress levels low.
Oh, that actually reinforces what I was saying. Yeah.
Is it a 4-day work week?
It's different. It's different. They only work 35 hours a week, not 40. They respect vacation. It's just been a complete transformation from what I'm used to here in America.
Well, yeah, like, I saw that when I worked for the Spaniard, that Spanish company, or the American subsidiary of a Spanish company. Like,
I'm not hearing you right. It's super.
I worked with. Sorry.
Your mic is all chopped up, buddy. You might have to like reconnect it or some shit.
Yeah, maybe. Hold on.
So I think there's a lot of things that go into it. One of them is personal expectations. One of them is cultural expectations. And it's also, you know, if you look at more primitive societies, they suffer less burnout because they're constantly living in safe or survival mode.
Okay.
And so they don't have all the, what I want to say, all the trappings of civilization in the sense, because the societal expectation in that environment is to live. In our environment, it's you have to live, but you have to do it this way. And by putting those cultural norms or social constructs in place, we create a false stress. Now, I'm not saying that we all need to revert back to, walking around killing each other for land and stuff like that. What I'm saying is we have to recognize that a lot of the stresses and stuff that come to us are based on what our needs are. And, the needs are driven by the culture you're in. If you take the example Huds give, if you go to a 4-day work week, you have more time to relax. You have more time to focus on yourself and less time worrying about the other things. But the other side of that society is they have very strict cultural norms and very strict constructs that they have to live in. So maybe they need to go to a 4-day work week so that they can actually be themselves for 3 days a week.
Yeah, that sounds really important.
Yeah, I mean, it's. Oh, sorry, Thor. Go ahead, buddy.
No, that I think you touched right on it. But there's also that strange phenomenon that I'm seeing here too, which I don't have the answers. But you'll have some of these modern women that are taken care of, and they're, the men take care of them, and they have such high burnout and stress rates just staying at home being TradCon wife. So I have seen that too. So maybe it is personality oriented. I'm not sure.
I mean, the culture thing that. Oh, sorry, Wraith. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say it's the societal thing. Why? How do we change behavior? We change behavior by changing environment sometimes. Okay, and even if you're changing your own behavior, you're changing the environment of your mind. Okay, so the easier the environment is, the less struggle you have.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and humans need struggle.
You're going to create it.
Yep.
And if you don't have that struggle that's outwardly towards you, you will start creating it inside.
That's why we have all this weird political crap going on, because we're basically at our peak where everyone has so much food and so much free time and basically every luxury they could possibly imagine. Now our society is creating problems because we basically conquered them all.
Yeah,
and
first
so
world
that's
problems.
Yep. So now we got the transformer crap, we got the false racism crap, we got all this extra garbage that we actually conquered 20, 30 years ago. So now we have to drudge it back up because we're bored.
Yeah, and the cultural thing is right. I mean, Laurent could probably chime in 10 minutes when he hears this, but in Japan, the burnout is really fucking. It is so cast aside, but. The thing is, in this culture, you can't complain. And I thought I'm a very hardworking man, but then when I came to Tokyo, I really realized what hard work actually is. Right? These motherfuckers literally work to death. There's a word in Japanese. It's called karoshi, which means sudden death from overwork. And these motherfucking Japanese people just walk to the train station, just die. And these are people in their 20s. Right, because it just stress and overwork. But at the same time, Japanese people are extremely efficient at a lot of things. Despite not having that massive of a population, I think they recently fell down to the 4th largest economy in the world, but they were the 3rd largest economy in the world, and that's because these Japanese people know how to fucking work. And complaining is extremely frowned upon here. So that it is a cultural aspect for sure. But again, them fucking either, offing themselves or fucking just suddenly dying when they're at the fucking ramen shop, face into the ramen bowl. That's because they don't listen to their body. They don't self-regulate. Like I said, if you don't take an active stance to take a break from your burnout will force you to take a break. And sometimes that break is permanent.
So let's hit this super chat, and then we'll wrap up the show for the day and go around the horn.
Well, since it's quoting a Japanese warrior, I think John should read this one.
Okay, well, this is a great quote too, because this is how I live my life, and it's really I've learned this because I used to be a little bitch and cry about all the external things. Then I realized, thank God for people like Wraith, who really made me realize it's all within yourself to control everything internally. And it says there's nothing outside of yourself that you can ever enable to get better, stronger, richer, quicker, or smarter. Everything is within. Everything exists. Seek nothing outside of yourself. And that's by Miyoto Musashi, a famous samurai.
Book of Fire Rings.
Hmm.
And he gets the video as well.
Yeah, I want some
Oh, of
Napier
course.
Huds.
Oh, here we go.
Disavow! Disavow!
Moving closer to the line. Thank you, you're the best. Party on, we never rest.
Yeah. Oh.
Disavow.
Alrighty. Thank you very much, Danny. So let's go around the horn. Final thoughts and where people can find you. Let's start with Huds.
Oh, I've never been first. I'm nervous. So yeah, this was a great show. I have been dealing with burnout myself recently. I've gone through cycles of it, and when you get caught in that state, it is it's really tough to readjust. And right now, I had to pull back a lot of different things just to kind of recalibrate my brain and my energy levels. So far, so good. But definitely something to keep an eye on because it really does. It creeps up on most people. I think there was a lot of great advice given around the horn here. I really like what John was saying, that essentially if you push it too hard, it's going to force something to happen, and that you could burn yourself out completely. And obviously we don't want that, and we don't want your face in ramen with your Oreos next to you unfinished. So the best place to find me, Instagram right there with any dating questions if you want to schedule a consult. Then we're also continuing on with Men of Now on that my men's community, and we're still going through a lot of the different actors in the space that have created the manosphere and the red pill that we have today, and just continuing to level up. Last week we had Paul on to talk in depth on his book, so if you want more information on the book before getting it, he dives deep into the whole thing, breaks it all down. A lot of interesting tidbits in there. So I'll toss that into the chat. We may be changing when we do our live streams. Typically, they have been on Tuesdays. We may change that, but I'll let you guys know. But definitely tune into some of that stuff. And yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks, Huds.
Thanks, Huds. Laurent.
Send a telegram, Laurent.
Wait for the pigeon.
So I don't have much social presence for now. I'm writing the second edition of the book, and I will write something for Thor. I think this is going to be interesting. This is something that this will be the book that I wish I had 20 years ago when I started working on the market. Again, it's an honor and a privilege to be in your company, and it's a very good thing to finally see somebody who lives in the same time zone. So Emily, it's good to see you here.
Thank you, sir. Wraith.
I guess the best thing I can tell you about it is find some way to, disconnect from the world for a few minutes every day. You can do that through hypnosis, meditation, visualization, and use that time and use a session to reframe what your next day is going to be. That's the best way to do it. I meditate every night before I go to bed. It changes the anatomical responses, the biological responses, and it gives me a chance to, not have to deal with other people's shit for a moment. You can catch me at Wraith_Netour at Instagram, Facebook, Telegram, and here on this show. And I lecture in Men every quarter. So if you're not a member of Men, and you should be.
Awesome. Nuke.
So shows on Sunday, 9 p.m. Central. I don't have a topic yet, but be on the lookout for that. I just did Rule 0, guys, so check that out. I'm about 10% done with my book as of this morning, so I'll continue writing that. Hopefully it's more or less the base part of the book is done by Christmas. Yeah, that's all I have, guys. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, Mike Steele.
Thank you very much for having me on today. Guys who are listening, remember, your coworkers are not your friends. Do not share things with them. And to quote John MLD, you should always know way more about them than they know about you. So guys, my socials are down below. IG, that's where everything's all hunky-dory, touchy-feely, warm and fuzzy, celebrities, food, cityscapes, all that stuff. X, that's where I raw dog the internet into an early grave. Check me out.
Mike Steele.
Mm-hmm. And then Viking.
Yes, sir. So last words on the topic is that I think it's, like Ray said, it's about managing your expectations and basing those expectations in reality rather than your flawed human perception. So you got to know what your limits are and also where your breaking points are, right? So there are limits you can operate within under high stress for extended periods of time, but you have to know how to shift gears, decompress, and that's something that is going to come from mindfulness. Meditation is a key way of obtaining mindfulness, understanding you can reprogram your habits through action, not just conversation. You can't talk your way out of a bad lifestyle. You actually have to, I say it all the time, to change your life, you actually got to change your life. It's not just going to happen. So where you can find me on my YouTube channel, subscribe. I'm trying to get monetized so I can follow the stereotypical red pills, like I'm going to give good advice. I'm going to blow up probably. People are going to get mad at me, false flag me, and I'm going to get banned. So, same shit, different decade.
Awesome. And then right now, my book is done writing. I'm going through editing and getting ready to format, so hopefully be done within a month. Which I actually do talk about burnout a lot in it, and because it's about emotional durability. And I do mention groups like Masculine Empowerment Network, which thank you so much for that, John. The couple years I signed up for it got me into this space. Now sitting here doing this, got me promoted at work, actually made me switch jobs to get a good promotion raise, negotiated that thanks to advice from MLD, as well as other people such as Laurent and Ray, Thor. Be assertive in that stuff. My socials that I use right now is just Twitter and YouTube. I'm posting them in the chat right now. And I'll turn it over to MLD.
Well, I just want to say thanks to everybody for letting me come on the show. I'm just here to support Thor. I am very grateful to have these two great guys. That's Thor and Wraith. I'm like a Democrat kid with two dads. I'm really excited to be really love you guys. That's not insinuating they're gay at all. Anyways, I hope that joke didn't go over your head. I just spent $70,000 on a brand new studio in Tokyo, and we're launching a new show hopefully this month. We are just trying to iron out some of the technical details, but a brand new show is coming. It is the first ever in the world live stream dating panel talk show in Japan featuring Japanese women, and is the only one in the world. It's going to be amazing. It's called the Tokyo Love Show. You're going to be loving everything that we have to talk about. It's not going to be like the typical we dunk on sluts thing. It's going to be more of an uplifting show to show you that there are good women out there. I think a lot of these dating panel shows just bring on these crazy whores, and it black pills men. They think like all bitches are crazy. And that's just not the case. There's so many beautiful, amazing, lovely women out there. I've shared my life with so many of these women. I'm a big fan of women. I love them. And I just think that the red pill space and the manosphere space is filled with a lot of angry guys who don't, quite frankly, understand women. So I'm known for transformation. So if you're a guy that wants to get a transformation in your life, if you want to get more money, more muscles, more game, more frame, more women, you want to have a good, loving, happy relationship, it is possible. I have done it. I have dragged myself from the depths of poverty to the upper echelons of success in multiple areas. I'm an internationally known person, dating women around the world. They're all the same. You just got to know how the framing works up here for them. And then you'll have a big problem in your life, which is just you don't know which one to settle down with. It's a good problem to have, You can find me on YouTube, Modern Life Dating, all one word, or you can follow me right now on Instagram and see what it looks like in Okinawa, Japan on my luxurious vacation trip. A little inspiration for you to work hard and do better. That is Hot Dude Life on Instagram. And closing thing, just remember, guys, they're eating the cats and the dogs, okay? They're eating the cats and the dogs. Protect your pets. Vote Trump 2024. Save the pussy. That's it. Peace out.
Fantastic. All right, man. Thanks for joining the Dragon Ship today. Remember, the Dragon Ship, it is where the rising tide lifts all ships. That's really what it's about, and we are that rising tide, guys. I'm going to take you out. Wraith is having his book come out within a month. He forgot to mention it, but he is going to have a pretty fantastic book on the skills of frame and why that's so important to acquire frame and hold frame in your life. And of course, you know, we've got the other guys ready to go. They're all in queue. Keep an eye out because there's going to be more books coming your way with information you may not have seen before that will connect with you, particularly when it comes to essential skills of a masculine presence that you will want to employ in your life. I'm going to take you out with Paul's stuff today. SKOL, you savages. Until next time on the Dragon Ship, I'm RP Thor.
Have you ever felt like something's holding you back in your relationships? Like you're always on the back foot, struggling to connect with women? You're not alone. Many men are taught to be weak, to defer, to play small around women by their upbringing, by society, by the very world that shaped them. But what if you could break free from the invisible chains that have held you back? What if you could rewrite the script, reprogram the paradigm that's been running your life? This is your chance to step into the man you were always meant to be. In The Essential Skills of a Masculine Presence, Psychology Paradigm by Paul Bauer, the first book in RP Thor's groundbreaking series, you'll learn how to understand and transform the paradigms that have shaped your life. You'll discover how to develop a dominant masculine presence, one that commands respect, inspires trust, and brings fulfillment to your relationships. Don't wait for life to change on its own. Take control. Order your copy of The Essential Skills of a Masculine Presence, Psychology Paradigm now on Amazon. Available in hardcover, paperback, or on Kindle. This is more than a book. It's your roadmap to a life of purpose, strength, and success. Make the decision today. Reprogram your life and step into the man you were meant to be.